Welcome to the High-Tech Investments News Report for Week 11. The news report covers some of the many investments projects High-Tech Investments is currently involved in so you can follow our progress. We hope you will enjoy this news feed and look forward to your comments and remarks.
Hi, Bo here and welcome back to this week's news report, where once again it is time to have a look back. What happened in the past week? How well did we do on our platforms? How well have we done on our trading? You're gonna see all of this here again today in this particular video in here. But we also have to ask ourselves the question after this particular week in here, what is actually coming up next? Where are the markets going? Because in the past couple of weeks, we have seen a lot of ups and downs. We have seen currencies trending massively due to this trade war. This particular week in here, things have calmed down a bit. Either it's like the markets doesn't really know where to go anymore and simply just sitting back and trying to read what is going to come next. We don't really know, but obviously you're going to watch it firsthand with all the profits, all the drawdowns on this particular channel in here. We also going to have a look at Yieldnodes. Last week there was one of the viewers actually just pointing out that there was a new newsletter from Yieldnodes that we had missed simply because it went into our spam folder, and maybe it should have stayed there or not. I'm going to give a bit of a heads up on what exactly is coming out from Yieldnodes and Decenomy. And of course, the usual parts we're going to go through also with Yieldnodes on all the different masternoding items. Last but not least, also, of course, we have to go with Expert Forex. We have to look at our copy link service, which is getting stronger and stronger in here. Again, as usual, we try to show you some of the best accounts that are working even in this difficult market in here. And then from there on, you can basically pick and choose the best ones you have in there. As usual, we have the majority of everything that is in there at the moment, which is quite nice. That means that our basically setups and most of the settings are working quite fine. Obviously, there's other ones that has been taken by surprise with this very volatile market here at the moment. And as usual, we're also going to have a look into the rest of our EAs, but in particular also for the Trade Explorer, we have the new 6-pair one. It's now a couple of weeks old and we're getting a lot of questions on this particular one here. It is not ready for the copy link service yet. We need to trade it for a few more weeks. But definitely it's looking very good at the moment. And of course, stay on the video and you will see exactly how well it has done. And obviously, as we are talking about Expert Forex, also there is the first winner actually for these new weekly competitions. And we're going to talk a bit more about how you can actually join in there, how you can win. So we got at least the news here that the first one has received the selection of his, so you can basically select among some of the robots that EA has when you are winning, and then obviously makes one a happy trader, and hopefully he'll make some money off that one later on. So let's get into it, and we're going to start off with Yieldnodes. So we're going to start off with the email that Yieldnodes sent out here last week, basically to all the users again here to try and provide an update that we haven't received in a very long time. So this was, I believe, back in 2024. And what they are mentioning here is the regulatory challenges that Yieldnodes Pro is going through here at the moment. And obviously, again, how they would like to make sure that they get around all these regulations that are in there. And the goal is for achieve the compliance overall. Obviously, nice words. And then again, they go into this investigation that is ongoing here. They want to show the transparency, and the only transparency that we are already showing now is all the active masternodes that are publicly available through the platform. This is the one we normally show you every single week. So if you click here, you will basically go in and you can see the same thing as the auditors did back then. The initial masternodes, how many masternodes is actually running. So it doesn't sort of relay in the values of it. It just shows you how many coins there is in the system and that they are being masternoded over time. Also, they go into the legal actions against the chain analyst. So in here, and again, this particular part is they already gone through some of it. So where again, they are saying they are coming up with faulty claims in here and continues to basically try to put Yieldnodes down. So obviously we heard this many times in the emails here before, and you can go again with the link on the lawsuits here. So, but it doesn't look like this is going to be over anytime soon. Also, again, the NFTs, the community attacks within the Yieldnodes is also what is being basically talked about in here. And then the coin devaluation, which we're also following, and you can follow on this particular channel here. And they are mentioning again, especially the SAP coin, which you will see here also today, where it's at. And commitment to the future. Obviously, again, this is nice. We have seen this one from the Yieldnodes team before. But what is actually missing in all this is actually the initial part that once things stopped, they were coming out with a white paper and basically looking for companies to set up to use the SAP coins here in the future. We know that Steve also mentioned that he had some access to hotels, things like this, where this was going to be implemented. There was also supposed to be a lot of things coming from Woods and some of the businesses that he was involved in the Middle East. We have seen nothing of the sort in here, and there's not a single line of it either. So it doesn't really fare very well for Yieldnodes and the future in here. So let's go and have a look at the SAP coin itself. Hasn't really been any movement at all. We are still looking at pretty much the same place in here. You can see there's a few buy in here, and there's one also a few sort of, but extremely low volume overall, and that obviously doesn't bring any coin price up. However, the staking is still good, so we continue to stake this. We've done this for quite a few years now, and you'll notice that we have 71,357 SAP up here, which is obviously nice, since this was almost 1-to-1 at one point with the US dollar when it was at the highest. But anyway, we have 7,614 SAP that is coming in. And you'll notice here that it has changed again. So now every single time we get the staking rewards in here is now 120.05. So that continues to change. But this is actually quite stable when it comes to the PNY. This week, it's been a very good week for the PNY with 1,596. And then here it continues to be the same number, 133 PNY we're getting every single time. So that also means that we get 7.2% for the week. So very strong week on both the coins. But again, if the value is absolutely zero, it doesn't really matter too much. Nobody wants to buy it, then you're sitting with them as we are doing here right now. Bitcoin versus USDT also reflects a bit what's actually happening in the market and what I discussed early on. You can see that the volatility of the Bitcoin is taken out, so it has been highly volatile. It was almost up at the 100,000. Since then it has dived down, and we have also seen here this is the lowest for a very long time, 78,000 that it just popped into. And then it has been trading pretty much sideways since then for the entire week. So only going in between 78,000 and just up about 85. And that is actually low volatility when it comes to Bitcoin. We have some high profits when we talk about the Trade Explorer instead in here. And nice to see for week 11, the 6-pair one. It's actually done extremely well again this week. So that means that the balance we initially set looks to be pretty okay with $631 or 6.3%. And the 10-pair one pretty much on the same par in here, $652 or 6.5%. That's what we like to see. That's what we were hoping we're going to get out. Obviously still, as you know, it's very early days. We have the Link 146C, which is the most popular one on the Expert Forex copy link service in here, and you can see why. It's been doing extremely well all the way through. The history is 669 days in here with a return of quite a few 100%. We started over 10,000. It's now up at 54. Rolling profit and loss is actually down again, if you remember from last week and have seen that one. And the drawdown was about 1,700, I believe, or 1,800. So it cashed in again, and now the floating profit and loss is all the way down to only 44. Monthly returns at again says 7.3, but we also know that we are not changing the lot sizing over time because it's used for the coupling service, so we have to keep it at the same level all the time. But the trade wins are looking good, 75.5% in here with 12 trades per day, continues to be quite nice. And when we look at, again, compared to the previous week, 652, so that is a very good week. We have to go back to beginning of February to find something similar. Last week it was 500, so definitely the 10 pair one continues to cash in quite nicely. We also have to look at the new 6 pair one, and again these are the pairs that we have chosen. These are the ones that have shown the lowest drawdowns on all the trading that you have seen here before. On the 10 pair one, we can see the balance started off with 10,000, it's now 11,190. Floating profit and loss is actually quite low, so lower than the 10 pair one, so minus $34. Total return so far is more than 11%. Monthly returns from FX Blue is calculated at 19.9% at the moment. So that is a very good number, no doubt about it, with a weekly return of 4.4. And also trade wins is very equal to the 10 pair account in here with 75%. So that's good. And trades per day at the moment 9.8. Since we don't have all the pairs in, obviously this will be lower. And we have a history of 17 days. So just bear with me. We're going to have another couple of weeks in here before I can actually put this particular account also on the coupling service. I know some of you guys would like to see that very quickly. If we go and have a look at the net return, so this is on a daily basis because it's still a new account. And this is when it came out of the drawdown. So it came out basically on the 10th of March, had the 1800 drawdown and then cashed in 461, so it did extremely well. And once it's done that, you can see it basically follows a different pattern, so on the individual days. But on a weekly basis, we have over here now 3 weeks. The first week was very short week, so didn't manage to cash in much. And after that, we had the volatile week, good 505, and now 631, so all of it extremely good. Not so good on the Wave Liberator. As you'll notice here at first glance, for week 11, the top 5 EAs are actually a bit lower than what we have seen in the past weeks. Great British Pounds Japanese is actually topping here, so with $41 or 4.1%, so you can't really blame it. That's still more than 12% overall. But Swiss francs Japanese coming in closely after with $39, 3.9%, and then Aussie CAD $30, 3%. And then Euro Swiss francs, $27, 2.7%. And then Great British Pounds, USD, $25, 2.5%. Overall, the total part, $161 for the week, or 3.2% for these 5 accounts. Still quite good, but obviously not as good as last week. Again, the balance, and look at the graph in here, looks extremely good. Monthly returns is 1.1 or 11% on $1,000 accounts, so that's good. Trade wins is a bit lower than the Trade Explorer, roughly around 68%. And then more trades per day here with 14 and a lot of history, 573 days. So these are good and stable signals overall. Floating profit and loss is also under control at the moment. We still have a few accounts that hasn't come back and cashed in again, so that the last settings can actually be implemented. So they have been set for the robots, but they are not coming into play until the old accounts are actually closed and then start off again. And from there on, I hope we're going to have even lower floating profit and loss in the future. All of this you can obviously follow on our website, where you can follow the individual currency pairs. And as you'll see, most of these are on the coupling service already. Simply go there, click them, have a look at the drawdowns, see which ones you actually want to follow. And overall portfolio, as I mentioned here, is down 346. You'll see in the corner compared to 669. So the week before. But it is quite good compared to some of the previous weeks back in February. So definitely the market is in limbo, and let's see where it's going to take us next. Same with the RSI Liberator in here. Also, again, the Japanese, this time the Great British Pounds Japanese at $39, 3.9% is on top, with the Aussie CAD with $36, 3.6%, and then Swiss francs Japanese, $30, 3%, and Great British Pounds, Swiss francs, $28, 2.8%, with Euro Swiss francs at $26, 2.6%, and then $159 with 3.2% in here. So a good average again for the top 5 EAs in here. It's not too bad. This is a pretty good average for the week. If we have a look at the entire portfolio, we have now 342 days. So again, 20 days pretty much off from having 1 year in there. And again, it's doing quite well. The monthly return has dropped a bit. So, and at the moment it's cashing in around 9% or 2% on a weekly basis, $1,000 accounts, with the trade wins of 66 in here. So still good, strong numbers, and you can go and have a look on the website on the individual ones. We have a lot of them on the coupling service. We will add some additional ones this particular week. Go out and ask Expert Forex to put them on. But in the meantime, you can go and have a look again to see which ones are the ones performing the best individually, apart from the top 5s that we showed you. And here we have, again, the number. It's quite low this week, you can see, compared to last week, 274 compared to 782. So it is a bit lower after a couple of nice weeks in here, but it's cashing in. Drawdown is still well under control, and that's what we need to see. I mentioned before, you can go and see everything on our website, because sometimes on the YouTube channels, it is difficult to get all the details in, and obviously also try and talk about all these things in the news report, which is why you can go in peace and quiet with a cup of tea or coffee here, whatever beverage you want, and go and click the individual links. And when you do that, for example, on the Hedged EA in here, you will also get to the website where you'll find this particular one. So this is for the Hedged EA week 11 top 5 EA. And that one seems to be doing a bit better than the other EAs, as you'll notice, with the Eurocat on top at $61 or 6.1%. So that's a good and strong week. Great British Pounds, Swiss francs, $60 or 6%. Euro Swiss francs, $55, 5.5%. And New Zealand Swiss francs, $37, 3.7%. And then Aussie, European Aussie, $36, 3.6%, with an overall of $248 or 5% in here. Very, very good EA, definitely cashing in quite nicely and continues to keep high profits, as you will also see on the entire Edge portfolio, where we have 16 EAs following all these different currency pairs. Monthly returns, so you'll notice 1.4, because we are running on $10,000 accounts. Otherwise, you should expect around 14%. With 3% weekly returns. Trade wins are good, over 70%, so that's quite nice. And trades per day, about 17.5, with a history now of 56 days, so getting up to a couple of months. And that also means that we can actually add some additional ones very, very soon on the website themselves. We're going to go with Alex and Expert Forex. Make sure that some of these ones are going on, so you can go again, have a look at it in the near future, so, or after this particular video in here, see which ones are the ones that are cashing in the best of the entire portfolio, that are showing that also this week we are a bit low compared to last week, 428. Last week was an extremely good week with $996, but it compares still to some of the prior weeks in February in here. So we are very well on the way. Lucky Trader also cashing in quite nicely, also a bit lower than what we are used to, but again, we get used to some high numbers from time to time. Here we have the Euro Swiss francs at $71 or 7.1%. We have the Aussie CAD, a lot of CAD in here this week for the Lucky Trader, $63, 6.3%. Great British Pounds CAD, $37, 3.7%. Then we have the Euro CAD, $34 or 3.4%, and then US CAD, $32, 3.2%, with $237 or 4.7% overall. So definitely it is being dominated by the Canadian one in here, but it doesn't really matter. The Lucky Trader is actually cashing in quite nicely anyway, and the portfolio looks quite well, as you can see. Balance started with 160, with 16 $10,000 accounts. Floating profit and loss is actually lower than what we have already cashed in, so that is good. And then we have the monthly returns is running around 1.2 or 12% for the $1,000 accounts. Trade wins are very close to 70%, so that means that our settings are working quite well. So with this particular EA, and then a history of 134 days in here of trading. So all in all, things are going well, and that's also why you will find another one of our website here with all the Lucky Trader copy link service. Get some additional ones in there to make sure you have plenty of different signals to pick and choose from. And that's also here where we can have a look, see even this week, the Lucky Trader is down 377 versus 863 last week. But the week before it was actually at a lower level here, 335. So it is very much up and down in the markets at the moment, as we are trying to capture both trends and drawdowns. The Bell Trader showed some very nice results last week in here. This week it's a bit more weak like the other ones. Again, also here a lot of Canadian currency pairs and Swiss francs. US Canadian is the top one for the top 5 for week 11 with $51, 5.1%, and then New Zealand Swiss francs, $41, 4.1%. with New Zealand CAD at $40, 4%, and Aussie Swiss francs, $34, 3.4%, with Aussie CAD at $33, 3.3%, and overall for the top 5 accounts, $199, 4%. Definitely, again, if you time that up for the entire month, well, you're looking at 15, 16% in here, but obviously they variate as we go. Again, the portfolio in here is also for the Bell Trader is quite good. It is producing a bit lower results overall. We have a higher floating profit and loss this particular week here. It actually jumped up, particularly for this EA, and actually surpassed what we have made so far. It has been a very low drawdown EA, but this week everything changed a bit. We have the monthly returns about 8% on $1,000 accounts. Trade wins are very good with 72%, so very, very nice. Trades per day is still lowest here with 9.6, and then history of 105 days, but they are working quite well overall. And that's also why you will find that some of them have already gone on the coupling service in here. We hope we can add a few more in here when it comes out of the drawdown, and then you can basically join this particular EA and coupling service too. So to have a look at the numbers itself, 247, that's for the entire portfolio. That is below what we have seen in the past couple of weeks. So these 2 weeks were extremely strong ones, but obviously we'll have to see what the market does so in the near future. We also have to just run by Alex and Expert Forex, and he has made a couple of videos here. So showing again, come into my Forex trading room where he's showing some of the, and basically focusing on the new EAs, the EAs that he's setting up on $300 accounts, basically doing a single trades at a time. There's a few of his EAs that actually does that. There's the ADX, and there's also an RSI in there, and a third one too that he's going to explain a bit about, and also show some of the results that he have gotten so far. We haven't gotten so deep into this particular one here yet, but it's definitely most probably the next thing that we're going to try and develop a bit more. And last but not least, also Alex has again a competition every single week. So this is basically some of the contributions into the Expert Forex Premium Forum in here, where you have to be a member, but you can then also win a robot if you come up with some good questions, if you have good theories or anything else that you can share within the community here, then you might set yourself up to win one of these up to about $1,000 robots. And that is definitely worth having a closer look at if you are interested in getting your trading started. So it doesn't mean necessarily that you have to go and have the best answers. If you have some good questions, if you're asking the right questions in the first place, that could also basically win you an EA. But what it's all about is actually some good monthly averages, and that's you'll find also on the Expert Forex site. Here is best monthly gains, and then this is updated on the 15th of March. Again, you can see the individual percentages, so there's quite a few accounts doing quite well. As usual, we highlight all our links in yellow, and as you can see, we have quite a few in there, so more than half of them. So it's good to see that the trading strategy and logic that we are actually using seems to be doing extremely well. And that's where also it leads us to the top 5 for the week in here for the coupling service. As usual, we're going to have this Excel and then we're going to sort it out. So basically we are looking at floating profit and loss. We want to have maximum $300. So that's what it says in here. We also want to have the total negative weeks in the last 8 weeks should be also less than 300. You can see this one's actually coming a bit close here. So it seems to have managed right within. Return on total drawdown. We also want that one to be at least more than 200. And then we adjust it here from high to low. And the gains percentage wise in the last 8 weeks. And what you'll notice here again is some very strong ones. The bottom one here is 20% and goes all the way up to 75. A lot of green in here, so that means that there is floating profit and loss is pretty much 0 or very, very low. And then we highlighted all our links in here, so you can see again some of the links that we have seems to be extremely secure and very, very low drawdowns, even despite what is actually going on in the market here at the moment. It can be extremely difficult to keep within these numbers that I have set up. And these are obviously my own numbers that I put in here, because I think that is what we should try and aim for. The entire list for this particular week in here looks like this. So again, the same search that you saw just before. This is just the entire list that we have. And as you'll see, we have quite a few links in again here. And if we have a look at the gains, so for the past 8 weeks, it comes in, maybe it's a bit low, 7%, but it's still 3.5% so per month. And then it goes all the way up here to 75. So again, somewhere between 3.5 and somewhere around the 38% is what these individual traders, including ourselves, has managed to provide for all the ones that are on the coupling service. And definitely that you cannot be too unhappy about. So this is what we had for you in this week's news report. So this particular week has been a lot of limbo from the markets in here. Doesn't really know where it's going to go, if it's going to stay at the moment after the huge trends we have seen, if it's going to come back again, if it's going to continue. It's all going to be revealed, I guess, in the next couple of weeks or even months, depending on how these trade wars actually fall out. Especially currency pairs that we are following here is the US dollar, the Canadian dollar. We've even seen also the Aussie USD and obviously also Euro, Great British Pounds. They are all very much involved at the moment here in the trade war. And obviously as this escalates, it will have a huge influence on what we're going to see, what the robots are actually going to pick up of profits or drawdown. That will be for one of the next week's videos, most probably, where we will see some changes again coming up. So until then, I hope you'll go in, have a look with Expert Forex, see if you can find some copy links that you will actually like to join on. And then obviously we would like also to hear back from you. If you are making some good money off our links in here, please send us an email. Give us a thumbs up, please, so we know that the good work we are doing here is also being appreciated. So until next week, I hope to see you around. Bye-bye.
I hope you enjoyed our news report. So please don't forget to like and add your comment below, as we would love to get your feedback. But before you go, make sure you subscribe to the channel and don't forget to keep the notification bell turned on. That way, you will never miss any of our future videos. We hope to see you back on this channel very soon.